Hello and welcome back. I guess I lost Chris during the intro, which is fine. Maybe he just danced away. We were supposed to have like a chill show where like we just kind of chit-chatted about Chris's time at SPIEF and all of the Zionists losing their minds about Candace Owens being normal with her family. But then Iran had to screw all that up and decide to keep a promise tonight. So we're not mad, but it was supposed to be chill. And now I love Brussels sprouts. It's my favorite vegetable. And now I'm already sweating. I started sweating as soon as I saw the alerts, and then the Arab channels confirmed that they were Iranian missiles. So if you guys have noticed, there are breaking news spaces open right now. Obviously, keeping up with the strikes. Last that I checked, they were on their fifth wave. I'm not sure if they've launched a sixth or not. And there have been multiple impacts in northern Israel or northern occupied Palestine. The incredible thing and the interesting thing is that one of my friends, I'm obviously on the West Coast, you guys know that, but one of my girlfriends messaged me this morning and said, I think she's kind of a nervous Nelly. So she said, I'm asking you, but I think they're gonna bomb Israel tonight. And I said, why? And she said, because it just feels like it. And I said, why? What happened? Because I had just woken up. And she said, I said, did they bomb Lebanon? And yeah, I don't know if she's single. I'll ask. George Soros fan. Though I don't know if I want to hook my friends up with people who are fans of George Soros, unless it's ironic, then it's hilarious. But so she said, I think that they're going to strike Israel. And I asked her why, what happened? Did they strike Lebanon? And she said, yeah, they struck Lebanon. And I said, well, they do that every day. What's the difference about this time? And I was genuinely curious, but I think she thought that I was like pressing her, trying to kind of give her crap. And she said, she was like, now I feel like you're quizzing me. And I said, no, I'm genuinely curious. And she said, I just have a really bad feeling. And then after about an hour, I saw the red alerts. This is a historic retaliation, and I'm going to explain why. But first, I want to show you what caused this retaliation. These are the strikes on Beirut. You have also seen the scenes of, they're harrowing scenes of southern Lebanon. We really need to do another episode on Lebanon. They're Gazifying southern Lebanon. So it's Gaza on an even larger scale. It's terrifying. And one of the scenes that I can't erase from my mind is the other day, a little boy, he was preteen for sure, had to be younger than 12. He was on a motorcycle or moped with his mother and father in southern Lebanon. And a drone struck the moped, killing his parents, and he was still alive. So on the side of this road is this child with his two dead parents. I believe one had been almost fully decapitated. And it's just the most harrowing scenes. It's an absolute dupe of Gaza, something that we thought we couldn't even believe it while it was happening. And now it's happening all over again. Never again, right? Never again, only for one group. So I do want to give you an idea of what caused this retaliation. These aren't graphic, so that was just my own anecdote. But yes, I can't stop thinking about that little boy. But here are the Israeli attacks on Lebanon. So, we've been hearing over and over again with Iran that Iran would say, you know, we're attaching these two fronts together. They need to both be part of the ceasefire. And I wish Chris were here so I could bounce some ideas off of him, because this is still sort of developing. But I'm thinking that this was the Zionist coalition sort of pressing on that button to see if they really meant that these two fronts had to be tied together. So I'm wondering if this kind of was a test of that. So what followed was Iran's swift retaliation, which I sort of kind of woke up in the midst of, I guess it was this morning when I was still waking up, and they were kind of discussing the retaliation, and Israel was sort of saying, you know, raise the alerts. We're getting ready for a strong retaliation from Iran. It's also interesting. What's this say? The Lebanese president and prime minister have been, yes, correct. This has a lot to do with that. You guys have spoken to Raed and Ibrahim, both fantastic sources. Is this True Promise 5? I don't know. I don't know if it officially is. But Ibrahim and Raed, both fantastic sources on all things Lebanon and most of the Levant. And of course, if you need Shia stuff, Ibrahim is your guy. And Christians in the Levant, Raed is your guy. But they're both fantastic sources for this. They've talked about the betrayal of the actual Lebanese government, of the southern Lebanese people, and of the non-Sunni population, I guess you could say. Yeah, they're great people, Ibrahim and Raed. Ibrahim writes on DDG Substack, so guys, go there if you want to hear from his writings. But so Joseph Ayoun has been, he did an interview on CNN recently. You guys may have seen some of that, which was shared by Israelis, the Israeli government, which was interesting. And he's blamed Iran for all of the sort of issues that Lebanon has. And I just, you know, it's like, it's kind of surreal to think about how these sort of talks are occurring. There's an entire, they call them a non-state actor, Hezbollah, but they're not a non-state actor. They have an entire political arm that is inside of parliament with leadership positions and MPs. And so your government, your official, well, your recognized government, you know, the Joseph Ayoun government that this talks with the West and cavorts with Israel, is the one negotiating, but they're negotiating with a complete disregard for you and your opinions and your lives. So it's a very surreal idea to think that, you know, like this sort of half of Lebanon is kind of left out in the cold, while this sort of ceasefire is just between the North and Israel. It never really made sense to me. So why this retaliation is historical is because this is the first time that Iran has ever directly retaliated for an attack on Lebanon from Israel. Pretty incredible. And that's why when one of the first things that I asked when Raed opened the space was if I could get comments from the Lebanese to ask them how it felt. And they were incredibly joyful, you know, about, you know, the retaliation and seeing the unity finally between the two, like tangibly. You know, there's been all this sort of, I don't want to call it sectarianism because it's not really religious based. Sometimes it is, but it's not always. But there's always this sort of, you know, oh, they're just using the Lebanese as a proxy. They don't care about them. They're just using Hezbollah as a proxy, or Hezbollah doesn't care about the Lebanese, or they don't stand united. It's all sort of fake. Well, apparently it's not. This is them putting their money where their mouths are. And I don't want to get the poster incorrect, but one of the government officials posted promises kept. So I thought that was quite poignant. Also, some other posts from other officials. Arakchi, who we're calling him Dark Arakchi, I guess, because does that means like based, I think, right? When you say somebody's like Dark Arakchi. But he posted this today. And so we have government officials saying promises kept. Syed Arakchi posting this without even a caption. I don't think there's really a caption needed to show, we need to get Laith on the show. That's what we need to do. I will reach out to him and see if he can come on for sometime Sunday. But guys, don't forget on Wednesday, we do have a sports ball, football, World Cup. There we go. World Cup special with our very good friend, Nima, who you guys have met before. He came on to talk about Iran. So we will have that episode, but I'll reach out to Laith. That's a good plug right there. He's fantastic. Dimitri has also appeared on Chris's show. If you guys are interested in that, I believe they talked about Dimitri's trip to Iran. So yes, the post from the officials. And here is Mohsen Rezai post. The Islamic Republic of Iran has repeatedly declared that it would not tolerate violations of the ceasefire or aggression against Lebanon. Tonight, the aggressors received their response. This response is a warning for them to cease their villainy. Every new action will be met with a more crushing response and heavier costs. Schools and various public institutions have sports ball. Some people call it goy ball, but I don't like that because I don't think that I think that sports are good. I don't think that they're negative. So it's just sports ball to me. But so his post again. And after this, again, there were 5 waves when I first hopped on the stream. I don't know if there are any more. Is it over? Somebody in the chat mentioned it's over for now. I'm not sure. But that's what I kind of want to discuss. And maybe Chris will pop up. And if not, you guys can chime in as well. But immediately following this, and I want to, you guys know we're going to have a really special episode tomorrow with John Kiriakou, and I really can't wait to hear his opinions on this. And obviously, we're going to ask him about all the weird NDAA and intelligence merging stuff. But as far as lately, we've been hearing this sort of back and forth between Trump and Bibi. We asked Colonel Wilkerson on Wednesday. We asked him about. Thank you, Barry. Nothing new on that so far as the warning system, the Israeli warning system for you guys that don't know. And so if you guys remember, we did ask Colonel Wilkerson what he thought about the phone call between Benjamin Netanyahu and Trump, and if those words were actually exchanged. Prior to speaking to him, I was open to any interpretations. I don't even know what to think about the friendship, frenemy, whatever, kayfabe, or real feud between Benjamin Netanyahu and Trump, especially after it appeared in Axios. But Colonel Wilkerson seemed to believe that phone call actually did happen. I am not in Arizona. No, I'm in Washington State. But he actually believed that phone call did happen and that Trump did have those choice words for Benjamin Netanyahu, which I didn't think happened. I thought that was maybe a way to show, like the phone call probably happened, but I didn't think that Trump spoke to him that way. But I'm guessing that a lot of people believe that he did. So following this attack from Iran, Trump says, Trump also is having a bad day from the jump. I'm sure you guys saw the Meet the Press crash out. If not, go watch it. He crashed out and walked out on Meet the Press this morning. So he's already not having a good day. But as the Iranian missiles were still being launched, President Trump said, allegedly, I would have said that the agreement would have been signed on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, and now this is happening. He really thought that? As somebody mentioned when the show was beginning, they said, the gas prices were going down. So the war had to start again. But yes, so that's Trump saying that a deal was going to be reached Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, right? And so now that's not happening. Trump also said, now this is actually an actual quote, Israel's attack on Beirut was not coordinated with us, and I'm not happy about it. I don't think I believe that at all. Oh, and I'm wondering what you guys think. I don't believe that I just don't believe that at all. I don't believe that this was done without the United States of America knowing. There's just no way. How could they not know? They know when a swarm of mosquitoes is flying over Turkey. I don't know how they wouldn't know that this attack was happening, especially, yeah, he says Pete Hegseth for fuck sure knows, of course. And so I don't believe that this happened without American knowing and possibly even American coordination. So maybe you guys have some opinions on that. Let me see what else is going on with this. Let's see if we have any videos. So here's some of the videos from Iran tonight. I don't even know what night this is. This is I think we're in the 90s at this point for nights of how many nights in a row Iranians have been out. And if you guys heard from our friend Red, who was living in America and returned home when the war began, he returned back to Iran. He said that they're out there till 6:30 in the morning every single night without fail. And everybody is out there from all walks of life. So people he wouldn't have even thought would be participating in these are participating. But here are the Iranians reacting to the missile launches. This is also a kind of a big week for Iran. I believe it was Eid al-Ghadir in the Shia religion. So belated Eid Mubarak to all of our Shia watchers. And they also dedicated a series of protests or a couple of the nights to Hezbollah. And so that theme has sort of carried through this sort of solidarity with Lebanon and the Lebanese people. Again, I want to remind you, I've been hearing weird things in American spaces and conversations, like sort of this disregard, even more disregard for the Lebanese than the Palestinians. With the Palestinians, there was like at least somewhat of an acknowledgement that it was happening. With the Lebanese, it's like it's not even happening at all. And we have a displacement. We have another Nakba, a literal another Nakba. I think at this point it's larger than the first Nakba, not to overshadow it, but I'm trying to convey the severity of it, right? We talk about the Nakba being such a tremendous catastrophe, and it was with generational trauma for, who knows, forever, until the occupation ends, at least. And now we have another one on our hands. With this is almost up to 2 million people are facing displacement, with 700, and I think it's up to 800,000 officially displaced. I have had friends that messaged me and said that their entire village is destroyed. There's nothing even to go back to. And so these are people that are not part of Hezbollah. So I don't believe that this is going on without the Americans knowing about it. That seems crazy to me. So we have to decide whether the phone call ever happened, whether Trump said that to Benjamin Netanyahu. If he did, why? If he did, do you also believe, if you believe that he did say those things to Benjamin Netanyahu, do you also believe that today that the Israelis did this without American knowledge and that the Trump didn't want it to happen? Those are big asks for us to believe. And then we have the other option of sort of saying the phone call never happened. It was planted story by Barak Ravid, who we know is an inside traitor and uses his media outlet Axios, which is ran with Israeli money. He runs Axios with to achieve market manipulation, to enrich himself. We know that. So it's a lot of lies mixed with some truths at best, I would say. In Axios, we report it because you should know what they're saying, and here's an example of why. So the story broke in Axios. So if we're saying that didn't happen, which was my first instinct when the story broke, why would an Israeli media outlet with a very Israeli Zionist writer, Barak Ravid, ex-IDF and I believe Mossad, why would he plant the story? Is this to, what would it be for? Would it be to sort of placate Trump and kind of get him copacetic? You know, we'll let you look like a tough guy and you can kind of sit back on that. It's a win for you in the American press. Maybe it was timed. Yeah, I know about Candace Owens' husband. We're not talking about Candace right now. We're talking about way more important things. Try to focus here. Okay? So we're talking about Barak Ravid in the Axios article. So if he planted it, why did he plant it? Is it just to allow Trump to look like a tough guy? Was it timed with the 224 thing to kind of take some of the heat off of Trump with this whole sort of military merger? I'm not 100% sure. I'm just not really, I can't figure out what the reasoning would be behind the Israeli outlet Axios throwing Trump a bone like that. Someone says it was to confuse the American people. Could be just distraction. Could have been to sort of, we also have this interesting break inside of DC with the Pentagon releasing Israel as our most severe threat. We're going to talk about that more tomorrow with John Kiriakou. So maybe it was to confuse the American people. Is it to say that, oh, Congress is the one merging the two militaries? It's just Congress, and Trump actually doesn't want to go along with it. I'm not sure. This is something that I'm just kind of brainstorming. Bad cop, worse cop. That's true. There's a lot of that. Does it even matter? He doesn't. No, I'm not giving him any more power or strength than he deserves. He uses the tools that he has in for nefarious things. I'm just asking more about why it would be in there and why now and why, the story kind of painted Trump, not a good light, but it painted Trump in the way that Trump wants to be seen, right? Trump wants to be seen as the tough guy, the assertive guy. The tough guy, the assertive guy. So that article did Trump a favor in his eyes. So I'm not sure. I'm just not sure why they were doing Trump any favors. Maybe that is just that. Maybe it's just that maybe I'm looking too far into it. But I will still ask John Kiriakou tomorrow. Yeah, why wouldn't he want the two militaries merged? It's for them. It's way easier. It's so much less of a headache for them to do it like this. He does. Did you guys see? I wonder if we have the clip up. Let me see. Trump's crash out today. He could barely walk out of the room. So he looks very bad. He could barely stand up. Can I ask Kiriakou if the Cold okay. Yeah, I will. I'll ask him about the Cold War. Yep. The parentheses, the Cold War. You guys know the parentheses in Russia are used as like LOL or like a smiley, right? So when you put like the parenthesis at the end of your sentence, it's like laughing or smiling. But anyway, and also tomorrow, we're not going to go into it today, but the NDAA is being combined with an intelligence bill of the same in the same vein that's merging the intelligence side of the NDAA, basically. Trump crashed out today, excuse me. He was being interviewed on Meet the Press. And she had asked him, she said, something about like, you guaranteed no wars. And he said, I never said that. And she's like, basically you campaigned on that. And so he was like, no, I never said that, or something like that. And then she asked some more pressing questions about the wars and how he said, and then he said something like, I don't like forever wars. And we've only been in this one for 3 months. And then the interview went on. And then the ending of the interview, they asked about elections or got on the topic of elections. And I think elections in this country are a mess. I think they're rigged on both sides. I think there's crap on both sides. I don't even pay attention to it anymore. But I think that they were talking about the Los Angeles mayoral election, which we covered here because we covered Spitzer Pratt, because he's just such an intriguing, interesting, and a hilarious character. But Trump said that that election is being rigged actively. He said something along the lines of, look at the election right now in California, it's being rigged. And she replied, oh, do you have any proof of that? And he said, well, just look around me, or something like that. And she pressed again and said, okay, well, that's not like proof. And he lost it. And, you're fake news, you're a fake reporter. And he stormed out. Well, he tried to storm out. He could barely walk. That's what struck me, was how sweaty and sort of disgusting he looked. And then he kind of like lurched out of the room, like dragging his leg. Like, this is not a healthy specimen. So I don't know. And then immediately following that interview, the strike started. Well, not immediately. A few hours later, the strike started. Let's see if Trump's posting anything on Truth Social. Lucky for you, I have Trump's Truth Social readily available in my history. He hasn't posted anything in over 24 hours. Yeah, it's been just over 24 hours, like 24 hours and 20 minutes. He hasn't posted in. That's wild. So we had an interview this morning on Meet the Press, which I'm shocked he even did, because he doesn't really do interviews very much with like hostile press, you would call it, I guess, opposition press. And so he does that interview, flips out. There's a whole bombing campaign and a possible retaliation. I go on Truth Social all the time. Trump's a maniac. But he hasn't posted a thing. Where is the crash out on Truth Social? We'll have to pay attention. Maybe they took his phone away. But so all of that's developing. You guys can obviously check out the spaces. There'll be always be breaking news. I think Ryan will be open for a few hours. Yeah, I say the same thing. Miller is in charge of that account. It's like alternated between Miller and maybe like one or two others. You can tell. There's been one or two posts where I thought were Pete Hegseth, but most I've said are Miller. But yeah, so this will be ongoing. Riot is open. Suleiman is open. Suleiman does fantastic breaking news spaces. Riot does breaking news with more discussion. And I don't know who else is open. I'm sure the Israeli Zionists are open. Who knows what? They're probably chanting some sort of magic spell to get the United States to bomb Lebanon for them or something. I don't know. Okay, so we were going to talk about Candace Owens a little bit today, and I'll touch on that. You guys know from, especially when she was covering the Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk thing, I'm not the largest fan of Candace. But I do think she serves a purpose. And she did open the eyes of a lot of, I call them the MAGA wine mobs. I probably should call them that. She's kind of opened a lot of their eyes. I think she's sort of turned a lot of them on to places that they maybe wouldn't have been looking before, and open their minds to a lot of different things. So I'm not the biggest fan of her content. I don't regularly watch it, and I didn't get involved with the Erica Kirk Candace soap opera feud. But so she was in Russia, obviously, at St. Petersburg. And this is basically the interview. Sorry about that huge truck. You can see her full speech monologue on our YouTube if you want. I believe we were the only channel to post it, but she was interviewed by Rick Sanchez and obviously some other outlets. And there were a few things that absolutely threw the talking heads, the Zionist talking heads explode. So let's see what upset them so much.
I think at times there has been some conflict between governments and thinking that maybe you don't want that messaging to come out. Maybe they think, oh, we don't want people at home with big families. That's not going to help. And I couldn't disagree with that perspective more. governments and institutions should encourage big families because it encourages better people, people that build with purpose and people that nurture with purpose. And so it really has been a blessing to hear about, I guess, to hear more intimately about what's going on in Russia in terms of those policies that are being put into place to encourage big families. And I truly believe that any nation that supports that sort of a dynamic, whether it's in the West, in the East, or hopefully both, Eastern and the Western Hemisphere, we will have a much more fruitful and productive society.
Pretty neutral, positive, quite mundane, dare I say. Wouldn't say boring, just mundane, nothing insane. Quite nice, really pleasant. I think I have one more clip, or I actually have a few more clips. Let's see. So here's Candace, my trip to Russia. This is probably the one that really made them mad.
You know, my main conclusion would be that we are grappling with the same issues, West and East. And I think something that we hit upon today was just the media messaging and constantly trying to make this division between what's going on in Russia, what's going on in America, that there are no similarities. My entire trip has revealed to me just how similar we are, and our motivation both as a faithful society, putting God first, but family, understanding that family encourages us in a positive way. It has just been a tremendously encouraging trip, and I can't wait to go back onto my podcast and to be able to share that with the American people as well.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Khamenei Akbar. We're back, baby. We're back.
We'll play it again for Chris. So there you go.
I'm so ready. I'm so ready. I'm so ready.
Welcome to the show, Christopher Halali. We are talking
about having me VPN problems, but we finally made it.
We're talking about Candace's now I'm freezing. We're talking about Candace's very controversial trip to Russia, where she said so many terrible and controversial things.
Listen, I saw her. We were there. You saw my video of her. You saw my picture of her. She walked in there and it was like craziness. I've never seen the media rush anybody besides President Putin or maybe Lavrov or Peskov and not even Zakharova had such a mass of people around there. And they stormed. Like literally the session ended and it was like, whoom.
I heard.
Everybody was on top of her.
She put congrats on the haircut.
Thank you very much. I hope it's good. Thanks to my barber. So I had a Chechen barber and he moved on.
No.
And then I now have a barber from Uzbekistan. Yes.
That's why you're in that shape.
Some Silk Road haircut here.
Do you think Candace is pregnant? Oh, you're not supposed to say. Yeah, she is.
Yes, I think so.
Congratulations, everyone.
Yes, congrats.
We're having another Candace baby.
Listen, you know what? The more the merrier. We have demographic issues. Come on, let's go.
So I did see an interest. First of all, congratulations. I was not informed by you, by the way. So I found out this week has been a very interesting week, Christopher. While you are partying and living it up in St. P, I was being attacked because you are a communist and I shouldn't be platforming you. And then there was a brand, and this is this crazy person who's, really crazy. But then she found a post and shared it and said, what happened to Chris? But I guess that they didn't understand how to read the post because the post was saying that you got citizenship. And I was like, oh shit, he got a citizenship. And I was like,
not yet. No, I sent my letter. I haven't gotten it yet, but I just went through the process as normal. And I just sent it.
Because the post said passports will be obtained for Halali, Owens, and someone else. I can't remember the third name, but yeah, I was like, oh, okay. And that's how I heard. I was like,
when I have it, I will I will show it.
I know you will show it up.
I do have to make an announcement. I am no longer a member of ACP or International Secretary. I have moved on, not out of any negative thing. It's just that I'm no longer in the U.S. It doesn't really make sense to be, the international secretary of a party that you are no longer in the country of. So I decided to hand the reins to Jackson. So Jackson's going to pick up the slack, and Jackson, of course, is, eventually, hopefully, going to go back at some point, inshallah. But for me, home is now outside the borders mostly. And yeah, what can I say? We are a multipolar crew at this point.
Yeah, it's so cool. We have an Africa desk now.
Yes, that's coming. Everybody get ready for DD Geopolitics Africa. It's coming.
Yep. We have an Africa desk now. But so speaking of Africa, no, I'm just kidding. That's racist, right? Candace Owens. So this, I think it was my trip to Russia revealed to me how similar we are as faithful societies. I thought this was an interesting thing. Now, it was really cute that it's interesting the people who got offended, because the people who got offended are the people who should be taking it as a compliment, right?
Yes.
It's the Americans. They should have said, "Oh wow, you think we're a God first society?" It should have been the Russians who said, "Ew, why do you think we're the same?" And Candace's reasons for being the same were that we're both faithful. What about the United States is faithful? Faithful to what?
I don't really know about the faithfulness here, but I will say that it's interesting. Some people were critiquing her from the Russian side because she's Catholic. She's uber Catholic. And I don't know if you know about this. We might have to do a deep dive about this. Do you know about the Fatima prophecy?
Yeah, there was this whole space on it the other night.
Yeah. So basically, this prophecy says that Russia is key. It's like the catechon, like sort of like, Dugin, some of the Orthodox stuff. Russia is the Ark of Salvation, but the Catholics see it as becoming Catholic eventually, which was the goal of the Polish-Lithuanian alliance and many of the later crusaders who tried to go after Russia and to try to pull them away from Orthodoxy and bring them to Catholicism. I thought that was very interesting that some people criticize Candace Owens because she's kind of a traditional Catholic, and they are concerned that she might actually believe in the Fatima prophecy and kind of push that as well, which is very interesting. So the catechon is one who holds back the Antichrist. Then you have Andrei Afanasyev, who always talks about Russia as the Ark of Salvation. So basically, Russia as a state will hold back the Antichrist. Therefore, it is a nation of salvation. It is Third Rome, Second Jerusalem. But the Fatima prophecy basically says, well, yes, but Russia must become, our version of Christianity. So some people online were very concerned about this. I don't necessarily hold those concerns. I mean, I don't. But some people were. I saw that there was some movement on some of the social media posts about her being in Russia and what this all means.
Yeah, there was okay, so I've now seen that she's working for Dugin, which is weird because doesn't she have more money than Dugin? Not to insult Dugin, but isn't she why would she work for Dugin?
Well, yeah, of course. Why would she work for Dugin? Number one. Number two, she doesn't live here. What is she going to do for work for him? What, just talk nice about Russia?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Not at all.
Yeah, so it was that. And I was I tried to calm down the fervor. I was you guys know that hundreds of thousands of people, if not thousands of people, are invited to SPIEF? Not trying to downplay that it's not special. It is special, but lots of people are invited. And I think Candace has been invited before.
Yeah, a lot of people are invited. I mean, our good friend Jeff Munson was there. You saw all the clips. I had Pepe, George, everybody was there for the most part. It was great. It was a great crew. But yeah, I mean, there's no need to. I think that, listen, because we're in an abnormal period of relations and people are concerned about the image of Russia abroad, clearly having someone with such a big platform talking nice about Russia is a big deal for many Russians. However, many Russians were saying, yeah, but like, we don't need anyone to basically tell us from outside that we know we are good. Like, we don't need affirmation, right? But that's a part of the complex. Like, some people were saying some Russian people still have a complex that they need people to basically give them praise because they themselves don't see themselves as praiseworthy.
Right.
Right. And so people, and then other were like, we don't need anybody to give us praise. We know we're praiseworthy. We've defeated Napoleon. We defeated Hitler. We defeated the Polish Lithuanians. We defeated the Mongols. Oh, what more do you want?
Why do you think people think Dugin is like a dark wizard? Like, they really think that he's like casting.
Well, I think first he looks like one, so people are automatically, and he dresses like one, more or less. And he speaks in kind of like riddles and
he does a little bit
and things like that. But I think, listen, I know Professor Dugin. He's a phenomenal man, very soft-spoken, very sweet, very nice, anything you need. So I don't see him in any way like that. And also, he does not have the pull that you think he does in Russia.
No.
In fact, most people don't even know him. And if you're political, most people are like,
Yeah, because he doesn't have the greatest, especially from a Russian perspective, he doesn't have the greatest, he's a little bit niche in his politics. It's like, how would I even, it's so hard to kind of reconcile his worldview unless you're like very well versed in all of the crazy esoteric stuff that he's well versed in. So you're like, I'm kind of lost. So it's very weird to think that he's like leading some political movement inside Russia, but they do think that. They think he has a tremendous amount of power. They still think he's Putin's brain, which he never was, but that still goes around. And now they're giving like Tsargrad like all of this crazy power. I'm like, Tsargrad's quite small in Russia.
Tsargrad is small. Spas is probably even more noteworthy than Tsargrad. Of course, Tsargrad exists. It's a media company. It does what it does, but it's nowhere near as powerful as people think. It's just part of the media space as many others. There are many media companies. RT, Russia 1, Russia 24, NTV. There's NTV. There's so many of them.
Well, here is Candace. She's talking to our good friend Rick Sanchez. And here she is talking about what the triggering was. So let's get her take on it.
For whatever reason, I think this has been the most triggering trip for the mainstream media. And it has been laughable to see the headlines they're coming up with. I mean, I had one person saying that my husband, we were in Italy on a family trip a few weeks ago, and that was another conspiracy, that there was like a Vatican fleeing money. I mean, totally wacky. But they said that my husband met with Alexander Dugin in Italy. I mean, it's totally so far removed from reality. And again, I don't mind it because it only harms them. You
worked with Charlie Kirk. You were in alternative media, but then you branched off. I think they got rid of you the way they got rid of me. Mm-hmm. How did you get to this place?
Well, just by living it. So it's very easy for me to accept that they're lying when they lie about me. Every single article that is written about me it's fiction. I don't even respond, really. I always respond with humor, or I kind of make fun of them when they ask questions now. I don't take them seriously enough to dignify half the things that they're saying with a response. That's a great place to be. It's like watching a cartoon. I tell them, write what to your heart's content, right? View it as a creative writing exercise, because you guys have no interest in what the truth is. It would have sufficed to just say, Candace is going to Russia on a family vacation, and while she's there, she's going to be speaking on the topic of family at SPIEF. They just can't do it. They fall short every single time, and it becomes like the mythology behind Russia. And even though last week they were saying I was funded by Iran, the week before that I was funded by Qatar.
It is really getting to like the fever dream level. I mean, we even see it with ourselves. The other day I was accused of working for General Flynn because Larry Johnson had lunch with him once. And I've had Larry on the show. That's where
I have been accused of being an American agent, an Israeli agent, and on the other side, a Russian agent, an Iranian agent, a Chinese agent. And then people are making all sorts of lies about me. And you know what? I don't care. I don't care. You know what the main thing is that it consumes people's energy when it should be spent in other places. People are dying out
that's
there.
the point.
You know, people are dying out there. Why are you focusing on me? Who cares? Listen, you make $1 million. I hope you make $10 million. You have 100,000 subscribers. I wish you all the best. I hope you have 500,000 subscribers. I don't have a complex about people. I love when everybody succeeds. If you're successful, I love it. I'm happy where I am. I
literally posted this today. I was like, we do not look at anything like a zero-sum game. There's like enough.
There's enough. There's
everybody.
Enough. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little utopian. Maybe I'm like a.
Yeah, we are. Well, we're communists, right? They're going to clip it.
I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. Why does everybody want to, like, I'm like, listen, we've got a pie. Everybody just have a slice. Well, you don't have to take the whole pie and run away.
Well, I mean, if it's pizza, the producer's taking the whole pie. So.
Well, no, he can share. I need 2 slices.
You could try, even though he grew up in Yugoslavia, he's not sharing pizza. Communist values do not apply to pizza, only to everything else. Here's the last clip I think we have of Candace, and then we'll get to the crash outs about her. But yeah, here is the last one. This was also on Rick. And I think somebody mentioned, I think it was Lenny in the comments, somebody else did, that the Candace interview on Rick Sanchez is great. I didn't watch the whole thing, but it is great. And Rick's a great interviewer. So go check it out. I'm sure it's on his channel.
He's fantastic.
Would you call it an awakening?
Definitively a spiritual awakening that is happening in America. We're talking a lot more about Satanism. We are talking about what that means, why there are more articles written in distaste regarding Tucker Carlson and Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, that really tells us that we are getting something very wrong. We are being told that Tucker is dangerous and Bibi Netanyahu is a friend. That is so far removed from common sense that it can't stand, and it's not standing.
And there is an Epstein class, I think.
There is absolutely an Epstein class, and there is no way that they can train Americans to think differently. I think they thought that if Trump said, oh, let's forget about this, then people would move on. And they were shown how, no, not even he has the power to make people look away from this. So I am glad that the conversation is returning to a more spiritual basis.
Yeah.
I'm happy that people are contending with great evil, the great evil, Satan, and recognizing that, because it means that society is going in the right direction. When you recognize that it's true evil, it's spiritual darkness, it means that there's going to be a global awakening, a spiritual awakening. I think that's what's happening.
Aside from what she said, I don't know about a global spiritual awakening. Well, I guess one could hope. Let's hope that it's the right kind of spiritual awakening. The Mormons are stirring lately, so.
We'll say
But what are her comment? We're being told that Tucker Carlson is more dangerous than Benjamin Netanyahu. Does that sentiment carry over into Russia at all? Are they looking at us like we're insane?
As the Americans are insane?
Mm-hmm.
No, they're not seeing that. They're seeing that. Listen, in Russia, the Democrats are insane. The liberals are insane.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the kind of woke class are insane. Everybody else is more or less okay. You know, let's do business. You know, I would say it depends on which side you're asking for. If you're speaking about I think the crew around Kirill Dmitriev and some of those people, you know, people who are educated in the West, people who have connections to the West, business can be done with people like Witkoff and Kushner. Why rock the boat? If you're talking about hardliners, if you're talking about people like Soloviev, who you saw we have some clips, I think we posted them, who was basically saying that this war in Ukraine is a war against Europe. It's a war against those who've lost their values. He was kind of alluding to the fact that all of them are the Epstein class, Republicans, Democrats, everybody.
Yeah.
But that's like a much more hardline position. That's my position.
Mine too.
I know.
I think Candace is there.
I think so. Listen, if we were in Soviet times, you and I would be called Kremlin hardliners.
Oh, no.
I like that.
I become a Vatnik.
Yes, for sure. Why not? Go
ahead.
What I will say is that Candace's arrival coincided with another arrival. And that was the Tate brothers.
Dude. And I heard, okay, I want to talk about this, and I'm glad you brought it up because because the way, and guys, you have to know that these influencers, and that's they're not, I wouldn't even put them on the same level as Candace, and Candace is an influencer. At least she has some of her own opinions. Nothing about the Tates is real. So I think that people saw that arrival and they took it as the Russian government is welcoming them with salt and bread. You know how they do that. They paid for those girls to be there. That's a service you could hire to come to the airport so you can have those sorts of moments.
Sure, of course,
and that's what they did. And the Russians themselves were the most like appalled at the thing. They were like, what the hell? I mean, Rebar went insane. Did you see the stuff that they posted?
Yes. I mean,
so I don't think people were happy. But do you know why they were there? How that came about?
I do. I'm not going to go into details.
Sure.
But what I will say is this. I will say that, listen, Russia's a big country. It's got a lot of people with a lot of opinions as any other country. And there were a group of businessmen and people who were interested in kind of bringing them over. The government did not, as I know, sponsor it. And then when they got there, of course, some people want to hop on the wagon and let's, interview them. Let's, see if we can mobilize some stuff. And so far as I understand, none of that has really materialized. I think that they were interested in kind of a bigger welcome than they received. They were not at SPIEF. I repeat, they were not at SPIEF. People were worried that they were at SPIEF. They were not. As far as I know, that I was there the whole time. And I'm not sure if they will stay long. There is a big event coming up next week. Not next week, the week after. And I was told that they might be there. And I'll be there. So I'll be in the same room with them. And I was kind of like, so we'll see. We'll see what that looks like. I mean, listen, the crimes if the crimes they were accused of were different, I wouldn't have as much a problem.
Yeah.
But the crimes are, I mean, listen, I have been harassed and defamed before, but this is like on a whole different level. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's just a little bit like, just feel like I got the heebie-jeebies, as they say. Remember that?
But I mean, there's no denying the connection between the Tates and Candace. Like that's where I kind of end with Candace. Like Candace is like, all right, up until a point, and then you remember the Tate rehabilitation and the Harvey Weinstein rehabilitation. And so I just thought it was weird that the Tates show up while Candace is there, especially given how close they are with her husband. I don't know. I don't want to talk shit on anybody or
all we're saying. No. I don't want to come across as we're talking shit. I'm not talking shit at all. Russia's a big country. Russia can welcome whoever they want. If they haven't broken any laws, they're more than welcome. The Russian state does what it does. It's, of course, it's as any other state. I will say that I want the focus to remain on the topics that matter, because Russia's at war.
Yeah.
Russia's at war. Russia's fighting an existential battle. So this kind of like celebrity culture, who's coming, you know what? If the Tate brothers want to do something productive, they should go to Starobelsk. Yeah. That's what I believe. I would be okay with that. If they go to the Donbass, if they go to Starobelsk, this was we were talking with the group of us at SPIEF. Many people were saying Candace came to SPIEF, good. But it would have been better if Candace went to Donbass. Yeah, it would have. Go to the lines. I'm not saying go to the front line. I'm not saying let the drones come after you. Go to Donetsk and Lugansk, see what's going on, talk to the people, report on the proxy war. The fact that U.S. weapons are being used, even while we were at SPIEF, there were drone attacks. Some of those drone components and technologies and the Starlink units come from the U.S. That should be the topic of discussion. And that's why there was some criticism about sort of the kumbaya atmosphere at SPIEF. You had the cook there, the fine arts commissioner for the U.S. as part of the delegation. I shook his hand. I saw him. Steven Seagal was in the room. Everybody else was there. But at the same time, I'm saying, yeah, but you guys are continuing the war. Could be over like that. So that's where the focus has to be, I believe.
Yeah, And I think then, yeah, I don't want to go down any rabbit holes. We're already running over time. I will go down a rabbit hole eventually, though. But let's check out. And the best part is all of these people who are upset, I keep saying it, they're all Slavic Jews. Everybody. So here, let's go Loomer, whose family hails from the USSR.
While they called us Nazis and while they called us white supremacists and while they said there was Russia collusion when there wasn't Russia collusion, but now there actually is Russia collusion and nobody wants to pay attention to it, this was all done as a way to silence white people in America, to silence Christians in America. But now what they've done is they've tried to turn it on its head and they've tried to act like they themselves are the allies to white people in America.
Of all, huge props. She is still on Canny Valley, but huge props to her surgeon. She looks almost human. I was watching an old video of her today. Her plastic surgeon is really good. Secondly, why is she talking about white people and Christians? Like, this race baiting from her is gross. Like, why is she talking about white people and Christians?
If we spoke about the tribes in the same way, how do you think we'd be treated?
She's just a mess. But anyway, so she's upset. She's saying that there's Russian collusion because Candace visited SPIEF. And of course, here we have her male counterpart, Ben Shapiro, also kvetching.
To pretend that Vladimir Putin is sort of a representative of white Christianity is total insanity and part of the op. It is ridiculous. And the problem is, of course, that this bleeds into real life.
I don't know that anybody says that Putin is like the leader of worldwide Christianity. Christianity has its own set of leaders.
Yeah, and also it has nothing to do necessarily about whiteness. There's a lot of ethnicities in Russia that are Orthodox Christian. It has more to do with the fact that Russia is a traditional state and Orthodox Christianity was basically its dominant religion for most of its history. And that's just a fact. You can't dispute that.
Let's see, we got some posts. Here's a Loomer post. While in Russia, Russian media asked Candace if she would run for president. She would gladly get behind Tucker. I'm sure this is all organic. The playbook to attack Trump, destroy MAGA with lies and foreign misinformation, and then a foreign interest back and fund your political aspirations. You have to be blind not to see it. Loomer. Weird. Oh, here's Erica Kirk. They're upset. They think that the Russia put her up to attacking Erica Kirk. Here's Mark Levin kvetching. Insane all around. I have no idea why. Mark Levin calling them the woke Reich. Even though this post was not true, she gained a bunch of followers on YouTube, not on Twitter. And here is the Shapiro thumbnail to top it off. She looks happy. She looks happy there. She looks happy to be controlled by Putin. You know what's so funny is, wasn't Ben previously her puppet master?
Yeah, I mean, but if we were to draw that one, what do you think that would cause?
Oh my Lord. It's the antiseptic or anti-citrus. I don't know what the kids are saying these days. Something along those lines. Well, I mentioned rigged elections earlier. Not sure if this is rigged, but it's happening. There's an election in Armenia today. You know,
What's
we're
going
seeing,
on now?
well,
What's going on? I heard the military.
My wonderful shout out to my assistant, Julia. She's amazing, but she gave me this wonderful little cheat sheet about the Armenian elections. But I knew a lot of this stuff about Pashinyan. You know, he's such a mess. If you guys have been watching lately, he's been turned himself into somewhat of an Instagram influencer where he like posts videos of himself in limos listening to rap songs. I mean, the man's sanity is right there with Trump. He's on the brink. And I think his wife has left him as well. So things are not going well for Pashinyan. Let's see what we got from him. We have some really long. Oh, here's a clown compilation. Let's see what it is.
Reich. Reich. I did have a Zen, 13 hours till I land, had me out like a light, like a light, ayy, like a light, ayy, slept through the flight, ayy, not for the night.
Ասպա ժողովուրդն բիքին լցնում ժողովուրդ արբա մեր գրպանները լցնի Տերները կտրեք ներբերս են չուտե Ասի վերենգի տեղը տասի ներբերս չուտե
He said he looks like BB. Who was it? Who cares?
Disaster.
I said
He's
the same thing. I was scared. I was scrolling really fast through our timeline and I thought the picture was Benjamin Netanyahu. And I was like, oh my God, that's Pashinyan. He's like morphing into Benjamin Netanyahu. Well, anyway, so he's running for re-election. As you guys, maybe you guys don't know, but Pashinyan came to power 8 years ago in April 2018. I don't know if you guys remember the Velvet Revolution. They also called it Euromaidan, I believe. Or not Euromaidan. They called it Electromaidan. My apologies. And the Velvet Revolution, which also sounds like a fantastic band, I guess because of the Velvet Underground. But a mass protest movement ended the rule of the country's longtime political elite. He campaigned on anti-corruption reforms, democratic governance, and reducing the influence of oligarchic networks in Armenian politics. His standing was severely weakened after the 2020 Karabakh War or Artsakh and war and the subsequent loss of Armenian control over the region in 2023. Opposition groups have accused him of making excessive concessions to Azerbaijan and failing to protect Armenian national interests. So in this election, he has been accused of huge crackdowns on the opposition. Several opposition figures have faced arrests. They're claiming that there are disproportionate criminal investigations and criminal charges. They are saying they're being accused of vote buying, corruption, and threats. And they're arguing that it's politically motivated. I mean, we are seeing this all over the place in all kinds of elections that threaten to sort of upset the kind of status quo. Right? We sort of see that. So that's what we're seeing in Armenia. So it looks like he is winning with a super majority, but it's still very early with 4.49% of total votes counted.
Too close to call, I think.
Way too early. But his party for right now is sitting at 54%. Civil Contract. What a dumb name. And then followed, not even close, by Strong Armenia, which is Karapetyan's party, and that is at 22%. So I don't know how Pashinyan would be polling at that high unless they are counting diaspora votes. What we have seen in the past in Pashinyan's elections and in these sort of Eastern and Caucasian elections, Eastern European and Caucasian elections, there's a lot of diaspora voting that tends to vote with the Western-backed candidate, whether it's because of propaganda campaigns or maybe they're just kind of a fifth column in the diaspora. We do see a lot of the diaspora being pro Pashinyan. So it might be the mail-in diaspora votes or that. I'm not sure. Any thoughts? I don't even really know what's going on. Everything's still too early. This was way earlier. You can see
4%, almost less than 5% already. Listen, this is also part of the psyop. You know, they want to go. You remember the early results? They did this with Hillary Clinton and things like that with Trump. Remember, they were like, "Oh, she's leading," and then next thing you know, you keep going and going and going and going, and next thing you know, she ended up losing, and nobody expected it to happen. So it's still too early. I think it's too early to call at this point. I will say that it's going to be. I hate to be gloomy now, but if Pashinyan stays in power, I can foresee conflict in the Caucasus in the future.
People in the chat are saying that he didn't even let the diaspora vote. What's even happening then?
No, he didn't. It's crazy. They're trying to control everything. First of all, they're trying to break Armenia from its Russian alliance. They're trying to sever it from the CIS countries, basically, and they're trying to make it an EU country, which means, let's be honest, it means de facto going towards NATO.
Oh, absolutely. Which is silly because Armenia is not located on any water, let alone the Atlantics.
Can you imagine? Iran then would be surrounded. Iran would border.
That's the idea.
Iran would border 2 NATO countries. And there would be there'd be a NATO country in the Caucasus bordered by the second largest NATO army in Turkey. I'm telling you, if you're a Russian thinker and political strategist, this is a no-no. This is a no-no. I mean, I would really like to hear what Karaganov has to say and some of the big professors, but I can tell you that people are very concerned about Armenia here.
Let's see what their opposition is saying.
What is happening now, and this did not begin yesterday or the day before or even in 2018, is a campaign to destroy Armenia as a state. This can only be prevented through mass influence and mass action. This is my view. And this is what has been discussed and continues to be discussed. Whether this expression of will take place at the time of the election through voting, or whether it will come after the vote through some post-election events, I do not know. But society must be kept in the most conscious, informed and mobilised state possible. This is what we saw as the main task. We set this goal whilst participating in the election campaign, and strictly speaking, it was almost our sole focus. From the beginning, our intention was to convey this situation and our vision to the people as fully as possible.
So, and then there were also elections in Slovenia, right? Where the pro-Israeli government is now in power. It's just really interesting that everything is being done to kind of get these governments in power. We're seeing it. We've seen it across Latin America. We reported on it. And now, again, we're seeing it in Europe. And usually these color revolutions line up with the neolib side or the liberal side, but they're not. They're lining up with the other side. Or maybe the two sides are sort of merging a bit. We could talk about that another episode. We do have more clips of Pashinyan, but they're so long and he's just so awful. I just want to touch on the Albanian island, but this information deserves its own deep dive episode, which I'm still working on the research, but I will show you guys a little bit of it so you guys know what's going on. Let's take a look. Here's some of the footage from Tirana. So I believe it's been 5 or 6 nights. There have been widespread protests across Albania. It's not a large country, and including on the island or near the island, at least down on the peninsula near Sazan, where people are attacking construction vehicles and private security vehicles. And for those of you who don't know, this is an island that Ivanka Trump claims they discovered while on a family vacation on a friend's yacht. And the reason why this deserves a way deeper dive than I can give you on this episode is because that yacht belonged to Nat Rothschild, which This meeting also appears in the Epstein files.
Yes.
So we now know that this meeting between Nat Rothschild, the Kushner family, Edie Rama, also included Josh Fink, Larry Fink's son of BlackRock, and that Mendelsohn guy from the UK who got in all kinds of trouble.
Oh.
So, and we're still digging through all of this information. So forgive me. Obviously, I'm verifying it as I go. There's also a tie to the Syrian Caesar sanctions. They seem to have been tied into this. There was lobbying by Jared Kushner to Donald Trump to lift the Syrian sanctions. So Syrians would then invest in his Albanian island project. It's insane.
It's Epstein Island 2.0.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to try my best to put together something with people that know more, but let me show you some more. So this is the Prime Minister Edi Rama, and you might remember he spoke in the Knesset. He's the only non-Israeli, or the first non-Israeli Prime Minister to speak in the Knesset. I won't play that, but you guys know he always grovels. He bows down to Georgia Maloney, for God's sake. So imagine the groveling that went on when he was in the Knesset. But here he is on CNN. This is absolutely bat crap crazy.
In this protest, there are well-meaning people, young people, interested genuinely to the environment that have been misled big time. There is not such a thing like a Trump family Ireland. There is not such a thing like the family of the American president taking over protected areas where flamingos will be killed by them. These are all stories that, of course, get traction, but can't be farther from the truth.
In this interview, he denies that the sale is even happening. Then the journalist confronts him with evidence that he can't deny. So he then says, okay. But they're upset about the flamingos and all this dumb stuff and blah, blah, blah. They're just environmentalists and they're crazy. That's not what's happening. They're like regular Armenians, even boomers, even old people, like Yugoslav, like sympathizers are out on the street. Like everybody is out on the street. There's obviously antiseptic signs on the street calling Edi Rama a Shabbos Goy, saying that he's a pet of Netanyahu, all kinds of stuff. And so this is interesting. See, this is why Albania needs its own episode. Okay. Yes. And that island that, and don't forget Starline, General Wesley Clark is not his name. Yes, he is one of the tribe. And his father was a rabbi. But anyway, yes, exactly. Here you go. Jeffrey Epstein. And you guys saw, we asked Colonel Wilkerson this on Wednesday, and his first reaction was trafficking. Also interesting to note, look at the geography of that area. I don't have a nap. I need a nap. I don't have a map I should have uploaded it. But this island is right at the mouth of the Adriatic, directly across from Puglia on the Italian boot. It would be like the heel. And if you look at who's buying up everything on the Adriatic coast of Italy, it seems to be people who probably line up with the Kushners and Netanyahu and those types. So they want to control the mouth of the Adriatic into the heart of Europe and the Balkans.
You know who's buying up properties along the coast in Greece?
Exactly.
You know who's buying up properties along the coast in Cyprus?
Exactly. And people tell us we're conspiracy theorists.
No, these are national security, because you know who's buying up property in remote Patagonia?
Exactly. Right. And it's just wild. And you think about, like, people are like, nah, look at how much money they have accumulated. And when I was talking about the Kushner thing, Jared Kushner has money for what? He's not a prodigy. He's not a savant. We know that the deals that he handled were completely mishandled. He has swindled so much money out of the Gulf Arabs, paying for influence, paying for a door in to see Donald Trump, paying for all of this protection about Khashoggi, all of this crap. Even when the PIF, the Saudi investment fund, the public investment fund, they rejected the investments and payments to Kushner. It was MBS who overrode them. Why? We don't know, whether he was just trying to buy influence with Donald Trump or American foreign policy, or whether he's also been blackmailed which we've seen pictures of him in the files. And a lot of people have said Kushner has inherited a lot of the Epstein business, which would make sense because now we see a Rothschild organizing the sale of a very remote island with a base on it and a bunker underneath it.
Long live Enver Hoxha.
Wish Enver Hoxha at least was crazy enough to not allow this to happen.
Enver Hoxha would have shut the entire Epstein class.
Yes, he was. He was well, he was crazy, but he was a very staunch nationalist. He would not have allowed this to happen. But Edi Rama, you guys go watch his Knesset speech. He talks about I believe he said he is either Muslim and his wife's Christian. I think his wife's Muslim and he's Christian, but he said they never told their kids to be anything at all and they got to choose their own fates. And he really hopes his youngest son chooses Judaism. So that's what's going on with Edi Rama. And guys, don't forget that every week in Tirana, they have an Israeli Culture Week where the entire city is converted over to Israeli flags. Yeah. So I feel like Israel has done their due diligence to sort of hide a lot of you see how they're working on hiding the aid here so people don't see it. I think a lot of it is hidden in places like that. It's just done with bribes and strong arming the leadership. It's really disheartening, but looks like the Albanians are not going to take any crap. I might play the Albanian video on the outro so you guys can watch it. But before we go, what were you going to say?
I have some news that I learned at SPIEF. It's not good news either. I was told by a Serbian colleague that Israel is building 5 industrial plants to build drones in Serbia.
I heard that they're making deals with Israel and they're moving closer. They've been making huge overtures to the United States.
I'm just saying, I'm not happy.
Again, this isn't a conversation that I want to start here because we could talk for hours about it. But I hate it. I don't agree with it, but I could probably rationalize it to where people might somewhat understand it just because of historical context, but it's not good and Serbs are not happy. So especially since we have the Albanians next door and even Croats, all the Croats that I know react very strongly to this, and their president is quite outspoken against, even though he has no power, he is quite outspoken against Israel and the Zionists. They're still a little bit cucked by their prime minister, but the Croats aren't happy either. Now the Serbs have this sort of outbreak in the Greeks and the Albanians on the Balkans saying, we're not going to allow this to take over. The Serbs had already kicked the Kushners out once, and now they're facing this again. So we might see another big uprising in Serbia, but I think that one would be not to get the Israelis out, but again, to get the government out, because it's Vučić that obviously needs to go.
The rationale was that they're concerned about jihadist and Islamist elements in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And that's why these guys, especially if you think of like by extension Dodik, they don't have any closeness to Iran. Whereas Yugoslavia had different foreign policy, even people like Vulin, our good friend Alexander Vulin, totally pro-Iran. But you see the complications there in a place like Serbia as well. Yeah.
And they are stuck between a hard and a harder place because they don't want to be aligned with either Israel, and I will say this in the defense of everybody. I bet they don't even know enough about Iran in the current state because they have so much stuff going on there that they don't even know they don't know how to support Iran the way that it is now. So it's like, it's not good. It's not good. And the Israelis are going to take advantage of those sensibilities, or like those sentiments, whether we agree with them or not. It's not good.
But
what else? Oh, the letter. The last thing I want to get to is the letter. Zelensky wrote Putin a letter. I guess it was asking to meet together.
Yes. Like, oh, please, let's
Right. I think that what it was basically like maybe a cry for attention because they're not getting any, which is more than likely what it was.
Yeah,
and maybe
at SPIEF once again.
So we had Putin's response. Let's watch it.
So we shouldn't be addressing the authors of this letter. The ones to be addressed are our combatants, our soldiers at the line of contact, and I'm addressing them. And I would like to tell them, comrade soldiers and seamen and sailors, admirals, generals, officers, the country's gazes are fixed upon you. The country is proud of you and places its hopes on you. Keep working, brothers.
So I'll take that as a no, that you are not going to meet the author of the letter.
Пока не вижу смысла. So far, I see no point.
Let's go.
What do you think? What do Russians think? Is it going to ramp up?
Listen, it's gonna ramp up. It's gonna ramp up before it dies down, for sure.
Good.
For sure.
Good. And everybody, even over here in the West, are saying things like they're getting ready for war with Europe. Is coming.
I will say this. The contact line now in Ukraine is seeing the most drones in all of the war right now. People cannot move or put their heads above a trench line without drones coming in. There are more drones than people out there now. They're flying everywhere. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing from people out there that it's not even a crawl at this point. It's inch by inch or centimeter by centimeter because the drones are coming in. In some places, it's going not as quickly as it could because there are just so many drones.
Yes, Palantir is helping Ukraine big time.
Absolutely. We saw that the CNN, instead of going to Starobelsk, they went to the drone unit in Ukraine, and the computer system was all Palantir, giving the locations and target packages.
And I know Nick Cruz isn't here, but he would love this. At the House meeting or the committee meeting about the NDAA to merge the Israeli and American militaries, the Ro Khanna, who was fighting against it, actually had the audacity. I think it was him. Maybe it was someone else. I don't want to make a mistake, but someone said it's actually Ukraine that should have one of these.
Interesting.
So I think that the Russians may be kind of standing by for the midterms, because if the Democrats win, there's a real possibility that this thing goes balls to the wall.
I listen, I was at SPIEF and I told everybody, the canary in the coal mine is November. If the Democrats come, just get ready, because if the Democrats take the White House in 2028, there will be more sanctions on Russia. There won't be a special relationship. There won't be a Kushner or a Witkoff to go to Moscow. It's going to be no phone calls to President Putin and to the administration. And you're going to be in another abnormal period, and it could be worse than Biden. Biden was senile and old. You could have a young buck out there who's very pro-EU, pro-NATO, pro-Ukraine, and sees Russia as the big bad enemy, and he could go even more aggressive on Russia.
Oh, the producer just told me it was Adam Smith. But yes, so yeah, another Democrat. So the Democrats went to go get the NDAA pushback, but at the same time said we should give one to Ukraine. So this is the type of psychosis that Americans are caught between.
Yes.
Psychos that want NATO to go to war against Russia, and psychos that want Israel to rule the whole world. That's where Americans are at.
That's right. That's right.
Anyway, let's do some super chats. And then I got a short ad read, which you guys won't even be bored through. It's not about medals. Change your name to Sarah Bill's wifey. Yes, long live the resistance. Thank you, Mo. I think that another wave launched while we're waiting to see if Israel will retaliate. Trump says he does not want Israel to retaliate. He said he's going to call them and tell them not to, which probably won't happen. And either way, they won't listen. But I do appreciate and thank you for tuning in. I did like a whole 30, 45 minutes just with you guys while Chris was getting his technical issues figured out. So thanks for your patience and thanks for chiming in and keeping the conversation going while we waited on Chris. You guys helped a lot. Awesome haircut, Chris. Your barber did a great job. And Sarah, you look pretty every stream. Love you guys. We love you too, Tony. I think I saw you on Twitter, but you didn't have the same profile pic. So I didn't want to get the accounts mixed up. But if I did, let me know and I'll follow you back. I just didn't recognize it. I didn't know if it was you, but I'm sure it said Tony the Trojan or something like that. The new Volga is great, but they need to produce the old models as well. In Bulgaria, we missed the old times with those cars. My grandpa had a Moskvich.
Are they referring to the video I did with Andrei Afanasyev when I got in the Volga?
Yeah.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was very nice. Very comfortable.
Very comfortable.
Yeah.
Was that what Asim Munir wrote a letter today? I don't know.
Asim Munir is from Pakistan. Wait a second. There was a letter that went from Pakistan to Imam
today.
Muhammad. No, was it yesterday that I heard?
15 hours ago. I see it.
Hours ago.
Pakistan's interior minister carries special letter to Iran.
Yes. Yes.
And that's it. But it doesn't. We don't know the contents. It just says that he
we
can't.
don't know the contents. It was said to be something about sanctions and the money, the assets, the frozen assets. But so I mean, you saw tonight Trump said that he's not giving any money until a peace deal. So,
well, guys, don't forget. I think that this webinar that we've talked about on the show for John Kiriakou was on Tuesday. But tune in tomorrow. We'll have him again. Before pregame before his webinar. Also,
we're gonna have him on the show.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yes, I know it's gonna be fantastic. Everybody show up.
Yeah, everybody better show up. Also, big news for all of you aspiring journalists who want to learn from the Russians. Rebar Media School 2.0 is now available for applications or open for applications. This time the focus is X and other media. They are rapidly overtaking other social media and active users and shaping how narratives spread. In our free course, we will teach you how to actually work on X, make posts, grow and push information so it spreads like wildfire. What to expect, a completely free online course in English, 3 classes per week plus daily homework. Ugh. A project, I'm just kidding. A team project with the chance to turn it into a media outlet. Clear practical training, AI tools for analytics. If you guys have seen Rebar's tools, they use some of the best animation tools and I guess hard or software to do their content. So that might be a really interesting course because I don't know how to make any of that stuff. Important, we are not teaching sales or that sort of artificial boosting, bots, monetization, or your personal branding. This is focused 100% on editorial work and managing serious information resources, which is something that this Twitter sphere has lost focus of as a whole, that I really think that Rebar is doing a great service if this is the focus. And I hope that some of you guys do attend. Spots are limited. Everyone must go through a short selection process and answer the questions. They're only looking for highly motivated and committed people. We will put a link. You can message the bot and go through the application process. I actually helped Rebar teach a short course when I was in Moscow in November of 2024, and it was fantastic. We did a little like Q&A with the kids that they work with at kids. They're all in their 20s. I'm so old, but all the kids at Moscow State. So you guys probably would probably really enjoy that course, learning a different perspective, maybe learning what Russians look for in their news, because I think it's interesting to understand how other people approach the news, and it's so much different than how we do. And also, if you guys you can find the Rebar full-length post that I mostly just read out on our Telegram. But that's all I have for today. We have to get up early. Well, I have to get up early tomorrow for John.
Listen, everybody. Iran. Dun, 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 Iran. That's it.
Let me see. I'm trying to copy the link to the message.
What do we got?
They said put it in. I don't know what they said. Put it in the chat. Let's see. We'll go get I have to copy. There we go. I'm putting it in the chat right now. Link to the actual message. Let's see. There you go. It's in the chat. Shout out to KFC and Iran. Yeah, you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. If you guys have any questions for John, please hit me up on X or shoot them in my email. I like to cheat off of you guys. Tomorrow, I think we're going to pre-record because the show is so early in the morning, but we may decide to stream. I'll let you guys know. I wonder if Chris has an opinion of the Zionist, Polyvist. Oh, do you have an opinion of Patrick Bet David?
I hate him.
Me too.
That's my opinion of him.
Literally.
He's a
Can't.
traitor
What
to
a
the nation.
terrible
He should be
person.
stripped-
Horrible
stripped of
person.
All of his assets in Iran if he has any left.
Scammer. Disgusting.
Yes. And if he ever steps foot in Iran, he should be tried for treason and for aiding and abetting the enemy.
He should. I'm not going to play the Albania video. It's like 3.5 minutes long. But you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And we will see you all tomorrow with John. And Wednesday, don't forget our special sports ball World Cup extravaganza with Nima, telling us this World Cup is a mess. What an embarrassment. I feel really sorry for the international community that has to participate in this.
I know.
But blessed Sunday to all. Chris.
Lots of love, everybody. Support Iran in the World Cup.
We support Iran in the World Cup.
Absolutely.
Have a good day.
Lots of love, everybody.